ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Wrestling Sheet Radio. I'm your host, ProWrestlingSheet.com Editor-in-Chief Ryan Satin, here with a special guest today, Big Cass, former WWE star, now CaZXL. Did I say that right?
That's right, CaZXL.
CaZXL. Where did that name come from? What made you land on that?
I wanted to do Big Kaz, but then like it sounded too familiar to Big Cass, so I was like, let me switch it up. So I was just like, let me throw a Z in there, and just because like when I was with WWE, I was like 275 pounds, really, 275. Okay. But I got myself up to over 300 pounds, so I was like, well, now I'm extra large. So instead of Big Kaz, CaZXL.
I guess that's a good reason. That makes sense. It actually it helps me remember it now more easily too. Yeah. So that's good. Well, you know, Kaz was recently featured in a video for DDP Yoga, in which he opened up about suffering from depression and addiction, and how he's urging anyone going through a similar struggle to get help. And you know, I wanted to bring you in here because just first and foremost, I really respect you for being able to come out and do that. You know, I know many people who have suffered from depression, from addiction, all sorts of things like that. And I know how serious of a thing it can be. I know that, you know, sometimes when it comes to depression, you just feel like you're so alone. Yeah. And so someone of your stature being able to come out and say that, you know, especially a big, tough guy like you who, you know, in a toxic masculinity world, like you're a big dude who normally you wouldn't hear talking about those kinds of things. So right. I respect you for being able to do that, because it's not easy to do something like that.
No, and I feel like not enough people talk about it. I feel like, especially in sports or in wrestling, like if you suffer from depression, you bury that deep, deep down, and you don't let anybody see it, or you don't talk about it. It's the worst thing you can do. Everybody is embarrassed, or there's like a stigma out there that you're weak, or you know, that you're a pussy, pretty much. So you don't say anything, and you keep it to yourself, and you don't go seek help, whether that's talk therapy or, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy, or, you know, see a psychiatrist or whatever it is. People don't do it, and then that just leads to disaster. So,
yeah, totally. Yeah. I think that, you know, and it does go back, you know, it goes back to when you're a kid, and yeah, the whole pussy thing. I mean, that's really something that gets driven into you as a child, of like, you don't show emotion, you don't show sadness or depression, and that can fuck with your head, dude. I mean, even me, you know, when my brother passed away, you know, you feel like you need to be like a rock for everyone, so you just have to like let nothing penetrate through, and then, you know, years later you realize that like everything penetrated through, but you've just been trying to bury it down, you know?
And burying it down is just the worst thing you can do, and it makes life hell on a daily basis. Especially, I was dealing with anxiety and depression, having to walk around locker rooms and pretend like everything was okay, and put on a face like, oh, I'm very happy. But I wasn't happy. And I really should have spoken up, or I should have gone and sought out help way earlier than I did, because it just led to an absolute downfall of me, my career, and William Patrick Morrissey III as a human being. Mm-hmm. I really should have just, I don't know, just grew a set of balls and just fucking went and got help, and I didn't do that.
That's not an easy thing to do. I know you say that, and it's easy to say that after the fact, but like, getting help really is a difficult thing. I mean, like I said, my brother passing away, I've been putting off going to therapy for years, just because it's like, I know that it's like hard to confront those things and to kind of like make a change, you know. It's not easy. I mean, if you had to guess, like, how far back do you think that went, like your depression? I mean, how far have you kind of been struggling with it, you think? Since high school type stuff?
Yeah, for so long. It wasn't, you know, anxiety was always a problem for me, worrying about things that no earthly human being should ever worry about. I was worrying about really minute things and turning them into really big things, and that goes way back to high school and college, but things didn't get really, really bad until probably when I was with NXT. And that's when things that's not when I spiraled out of control, but that's when things started really ramping up, when I was having anxiety on a daily basis, waking up with anxiety, going to the Performance Center, pretending I was fine when I wasn't.
Do you think it was, when it came to that and the NXT stuff, do you feel like it was the pressure of performing, you know, at such a high level at the Performance Center, or was it more like being put on a public stage like that? Because I think a lot of people don't realize, like, that's when that happens, your life changes.
I don't think it was that.
No?
I think for me it was a chemical imbalance.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think for me it was just, no matter what I did, I could have been a banker, I could have been, you know, you know, an Uber driver. I could have been anything in the world, and I think this would have happened. I just think that there's some sort of chemical imbalance in my body, and I think a lot of people out there that suffer, it doesn't stem from like a childhood disaster or it doesn't stem from a specific event. I think that there's just a chemical imbalance in some people that they're afraid to talk about. So I think no matter what I did, where I went with my life, this was going to happen.
So that becomes like the difference between, for someone who maybe doesn't know the technicality of things, like of being depressed about a specific thing or suffering from depression, kind of.
Exactly. So like some people say, like I've had depression, but they say, you know, there was a death in the family, or I lost my job and I was in a depression. Yeah, that's a little different from suffering from daily depression.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the two differences, obviously, like I'm sad, but I can get through it, you know, with my brother and stuff. I'm not like immobile at home, because I know that that's what real depression can do to people, where they just like feel like they can't leave the house. They just feel like everything's coming down on them. And I super couldn't imagine going through that.
And when it sucked, because when you're suffering from it, you got to get up and you got to go perform. So I can't lie in bed all day, so I have to put on a brave face, or whatever you want to call it, and put on that bravado like I'm a big tough guy, and go out there and perform. I can't lie in bed all day. I have a huge responsibility to myself, to, you know, WWE, to the world, to the fans. So I had to go out there and do that on a daily basis. And some people I talk to just don't understand how I was even able to do it.
I don't. I mean, when I watched that video that you did, the DDP yoga video, and that part where you talked about the night before you tore your ACL, and how you were just at your lowest, and how you woke up the next morning saying like you wish you hadn't woke up, that you wish you were dead. And I mean, to me, that crushed me. I mean, I couldn't imagine that.
And there's no reason for it. I was doing so well. I just wrestled the Big Show, which is like a huge feat for me, like on SummerSlam, in front of a sold-out crowd, in my hometown. Friends and family were in the building. I should have been riding like the biggest high of all time after that, but this had been going on for months at that point. I woke up and was just like, I never once like made any sort of attempt or anything like that. But I just was like, why didn't I just pass away in my sleep?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those thoughts. No, I mean, just having that thought.
Yeah.
You know, I have people close to me who are suffering from depression. When they talk to me about those kinds of things, like I'm driving and I thought about just driving off the cliff, and you're just like, fuck, man.
See, I never had thought. I don't know. I've never had a thought like that. Never anything.
Good.
Yeah, never
good.
anything like that. Yeah, like I'm not gonna like walk in front of a train or something like that. But it's just like, why am I living? What? Why am I on this earth? Like, just like I don't understand. And you're in a bit of a confusion because you're on top of the world. You're doing great. You're making money. You have friends and family around you that love you. You have coworkers that are there for you. You're living out your dream. You have your dream job. So there should be no reason why you feel that way. But for some reason I did. And that's where the confusion starts to come in. It's like, why am I feeling like this? Because I have everything I ever wanted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, it was a lot of confusion that went with the depression.
Do you think that the self-medicating with alcohol is what led to part of the downfall of
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was absolutely out of control.
I mean, that video where they show the floor and how much alcohol bottles were on the ground was definitely like, that's a lot of drinking.
It's been worse, man.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll tell you this. I've never said this on record. I'll say it here. like before the seizure, every day I was drinking a handle of Tito's vodka. Every motherfucking day.
Fuck.
A whole handle. Fuck. You could ask my Drizzly driver. He can attest to it. I became very good friends with the Drizzly delivery guy. Yeah, every day. So like I was drinking so much just to get through the day. And then it's just crazy because you're drinking so much, your body starts withdrawing from alcohol even when you try to go to sleep, so you can't even fall asleep because your body and your brain know, hey, we're not going to be getting that stuff while we're asleep, so you can't fall asleep, so you just drink more and more and more. I was out of control.
Fuck, dude. I mean, that's definitely, yeah. Was there anyone during that time period before you decided to get help? Was there anyone that, your coworkers or anything, former coworkers who reached out to try to help?
100%.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew something was wrong. But the thing is, it has to come from within.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you to do anything. Everybody can give you advice.
Yep.
But I could just tell them to fuck off.
Yep.
it has to come to a point like it did with the seizure where you have to come to the self-realization something's wrong. You need to fix something here. Yep. I talk about, like, you know, people can go to rehab for 6 weeks, walk out of the rehab facility. They could walk right to the fucking liquor store right then and there. It has to come from within. You have to want to make the change.
Even when it comes from within, it's tough. I mean, I know that, you know, when I had people that were close to me in rehab and I would go visit them every week for visiting hours, the stories I would hear while I was in there of just people that, it was like a rabbi who was, addicted to crack, and that no matter what he did, he'd be at the facility, and the second he'd leave, he'd go right back to the crack house no matter what he did.
Because that's what he can do.
Because that's what he can do.
He's a free man.
Yeah. And so it's really, that kind of stuff it hurts, and I'm so happy that you're able to dig yourself out of it, because not a lot of people do, and the fact that you were able to have someone that you were able to turn to, that came to you, that friend of yours that you talked about in the video, the fact that you were able to have someone that did that helped you like that and that you were that it was the right time when you were willing to do it. Yeah. And I'm just so happy that, you know, all the pieces came together like that.
I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and that guy was put in my life, Doug Lawson, for a reason. I was at it was the big event, or it was something in New York, and he circled the room like 3 times. And he was like, I need to talk to this guy. Something's wrong with him. So he said he circled the room 3 times, and when he was about to leave, he came up to me, and he said to me, "You're deeply depressed." And I'm thinking, who the fuck is this guy? I was like,
yeah, of course.
It's like, do you want a fucking autograph or a picture? Get the fuck away from my table, man.
Yeah.
And he was like...
Especially the mood you're in at the time.
Yeah, and he looked at me and he said, the guy I'm looking at right now is not the guy I used to watch on television. He's not even close to that guy. He said, something is wrong with you. And then I opened up to him because he was right. And then he was like, you need to come live with me in Delaware, and I'm going to get you sober, and I'm going to help you stay clean, and I'm going to get you in the best shape of your life. And that's exactly what he fucking did.
You were living in Florida at the time, right?
Tampa,
okay. So then you just uprooted everything, moved to Delaware?
Well, like, I still kept the apartment in Tampa, but I moved a bunch of my stuff to Delaware. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how long were you in Delaware for?
I've gone there on and off, but the first time I was there for like 2 months.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, like the only time I went home to New York was for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And the other guy staying with me, his name was Alex. He's from Florida. He let me borrow his car because he had to go back to Tampa to visit his family. So I took his car up to New York for Christmas, and then I went back to Jersey for New Year's for a wedding. Mm-hmm. And that was the only times that I'd left that place. Yeah. I
mean, that place, any sober house is so helpful. Just to have people that are supportive, that you can kind of go out doing things with. It's so key. That's why when I knew people who were in rehab, I went every weekend to try and be there for them, because I know, the detox alone is just like the fucking worst. I mean, that had to have been one of the worst parts, I imagine.
The detox, the seizure, that was it.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand. Like, I learned eventually that alcohol withdrawal can kill you.
Oh yeah.
Like, heroin withdrawal and stuff like that can make you very ill. Will make you want to kill yourself.
Yes.
But alcohol withdrawal can literally kill you.
Yes.
Like, the seizure is about as far as it can go before you're dead.
That's why when you said the handle of vodka or the Tito's or whatever, like, I was like, fuck, that's definitely on the level where you can get to that for sure. I mean, that's like
100%.
No joke.
And this was going on for months.
Well, I want to go back. I want to get into what you did to clean up. I want to get back to the Delaware stuff. But would it be okay to go back a little and discuss kind of some of the things from your exit from WWE and how these things kind of played a part a little bit?
There's some things that I'd rather keep to myself, but whatever. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's relationship related, I don't want to get into anything related to your relationship. It's more so some of the news things that came about at the time. And so, kind of like you said, you got injured. You got injured when you were that match with Enzo. Yeah. And then you had 8 months out. So before you came back, were those 8 months pretty bad as well?
Yep, horrible. Same shit.
Same shit?
Drinking. So I took those stupid Percocets or whatever they gave it, threw those in the trash. I've never been a fucking pill guy. Mm-hmm. I've never understood it. It's more the process of getting drunk.
Yep.
Yeah, like taking a pill and getting high. I've never.
It's
not for me. I don't get it.
Totally.
So, like, I was just drinking, and then, just pretending that everything was okay. And I was in a bad funk. And then it started to get to the point where we reached New Year's, and it was like, okay, you're gonna be coming back soon.
Yeah.
And like I had like this fire lit under me. Like I got a new apartment in Tampa, and I was so fucking motivated, man. And I just worked hard, worked out with Rob McIntyre. He's John Cena's trainer. You know, so many times every week, and I got myself to that point in the best shape of my life.
Yeah, you were killing. When you came back, you were cut. That's mainly why I asked that.
Yeah, but I was still drinking here and there. But then, yeah, like I just worked my ass off to get back in the best shape of my life, and yeah, I came back and we were off to the races again, and I was put in a really big spot, which was awesome. But when you go back to that hotel room and when you get in that rental car,
you're alone in your thoughts.
What's it all about?
Yeah, totally.
People are gone, coworkers are gone, just you.
Yeah. You didn't travel with anyone on the road anymore at that point?
I didn't trust many people anymore. I just didn't. I didn't care to ride with anybody. I wanted to be by myself, listen to music, listen to podcasts, just drive by myself, be a loner. That's the goal I had when I came back.
What are your favorite podcasts?
I was always listening to Bruce Pritchard, man.
Okay. I love that podcast.
Rogan.
Yep.
And Bill Burr. Yeah.
I love the Bruce Pritchard one just because like it's fun learning all the like inside things from back in the day.
And that guy's fucking memory is crazy. He remembers conversations that happened in specific meetings. Like
it blows my mind. I had to moderate a panel thing that he did once, and we got to have like drinks afterwards. And that was like the first thing I asked him because he talks about smoking weed, and I'm like,
yeah.
How do you smoke weed and have that kind of memory? How do you remember things from 20, 30 years ago? He did tell me that in prepping for the shows, he calls a lot of the people who were involved, because I was like, there's no way he can just remember all of that.
He does mention that on the podcast sometimes.
Yeah.
Like he'll call somebody to see what happened.
Yeah, totally. But okay, so you're on the road by yourself and you got in the best shape of your life. You're put in this big spot with Daniel Bryan. Do you remember when you found out that you were going to be feuding with Daniel Bryan as you came back?
The day before. We had the Superstar Shakeup. I remember the day specifically. It's another horrible day, man. Like, I got to the building, tremendous anxiety. I went up. We had blood work done that day, I remember. And I went up into the stands, and I literally went behind the curtain, like the point where the stage blocks you. And I just sat there for hours by myself because my anxiety was out of control. Don't know why, but it was crazy. And I remember, like, I went into catering, and I didn't want to see anybody. And Elias, fucking bless his heart, man, fucking really good friend. Elias could tell something was wrong. So he fucking took his plate and we went out and we ate in the hallway, like in a secluded area, because he could tell I didn't want to be around people. When you're in that state of anxiety, you don't want to see anybody. So like I went into catering and I immediately started panicking because everybody's there. So like Elias like took me into the hallway, and then we went to like down another hallway, and he ate with me in the hallway, which was awesome of him. So I remember that day. And then I think it was Road Dogg pulled me and Brian aside and told us what was going to happen the next night. And on that drive, I remember they let us go early because anybody that was then not going to be on Raw anymore going to SmackDown, they let you leave the building. And I remember on the drive, I was fucking so pumped, so excited, so jacked up, man. Went to the hotel the next morning. I woke up to get a workout. I saw Brian in the parking lot in his car. We were chatting. I was like really excited. Like he could tell I was excited. Like I was like, fuck yeah. Like this is how it's, you know, this is the comeback. Like you're gonna be fucking good now. Like,
you got shape. You're ready to go.
Yeah, like I felt very happy at that point. And then slowly again, go out there, do it, and then you're back in the hotel room by yourself. Yeah. Yeah,
honestly, I don't think people realize how being alone can just fuck with your head. Anyone, even if you're not suffering from things, but when you any level of suffering from anxiety or that kind of thing, being alone in your thoughts when you have that chemical imbalance, it really does fuck with you. Because it fucking sucks when you hear this stuff and you think that like, man, this person was like getting to live they're getting their dream, you know, and it sucks that they're just like in this like mental prison while it's happening, and I can't. Fuck, that sucks. Do you think that that's? I mean, because you never told anyone any of this at the time, right? So like, no one knew what was going on.
Brian knew.
I
eventually opened up to him.
Yeah. Did he try to? I mean, was he helpful as well?
Very.
I mean, he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, and his mom's a psychiatrist.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, so he was asking her questions for me.
That's cool.
Brian was like the only person that knew. Him and my ex at the time.
Yeah.
We're the only two people that knew what was going on with me. Yeah.
I mean, that's. I mean, the fact, because at the time it seemed like Daniel Bryan was trying to get people that he wanted to help, kind of like some of the guys he wanted to help, kind of raise people up. It seemed like at the time, so it was cool that you were getting that opportunity. I mean, looking back on it, even though things maybe didn't go the way they went, are you happy that you had that experience?
I'm happy I had that experience. I'm also disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed that I let the company down, Vince down, Hunter down, and I let Brian down because Brian was really excited to work with me, and I let him down. These are things I have to deal with now. Just learning experiences. But looking back on it, yeah, I'm very disappointed in myself. I'm more disappointed that I let people down that wanted it to work out. But there were bigger forces at hand that were going against me at that point in time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I mean, that's stuff that's beyond you. You know that there's crazier things at work. I mean, our human bodies are just. They're weird, you know? There's only so much stuff that they can take or whatever. And would you say that it was the same thing in going to Greatest Royal Rumble at the time? I mean, because you got the same thing. I mean, you got a pretty big push there. You were one of the finalists, if I recall.
Yeah, I almost tore my ACL in that match.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the second I entered the ring, I think there was a big pile and Braun broke it up and like I got clipped on the side of the knee.
God, and so I got up and another ACL twice?
If it wasn't for that stupid Don Joy protective brace, which I hated the look of, I hated the stupid thing. If it wasn't for that, I would have torn my ACL again.
Crazy.
Yeah, it just got clipped right away once I got in the ring.
Right when you got in the ring, too?
The second I slid in.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, Greatest Royal Rumble, another great opportunity. They put me last in there with Braun, which was cool as shit. Yeah, it was, I guess, that fight back from Saudi Arabia, I was riding a high. And then, yeah, I was doing great at that point in time.
That seems like, I mean, unfortunately, like the whole last year is like the wave of like these riding high while alone, just suffering.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember the ride back from Saudi Arabia. Everybody was asleep. I can't sleep on planes, so I was by myself. So
how long is that flight?
Fucking 13, 14 hours.
You couldn't sleep? Oh.
No, so the pilot invited me up to the cockpit, and I sat up there for 3 or 4 hours.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
With the pilots. Yeah,
that's cool then.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah.
What was the experience like in Saudi Arabia? I mean, I know that you were only there for the first one, which was controversial, but not as controversial as the others.
I had no issue. I mean, I just I didn't know what to expect going over there. It's definitely a different culture. But man, I kind of kept to myself. I had a lot of appearances, so I was pretty much hotel, gym, building. That was it.
Did you go to that, like, were you part of that like big dinner thing they had?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. Those dinners looked wild.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people went to that, but
it seemed like it was like a lot of like legends and stuff like that went there for that. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about, you know, especially because of all this you've told me about. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that people talk about in terms of you know, the end of your run in WWE was that segment with the little person.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that day at all? Can you talk us through what happened at all?
It was a fucking mistake. It was just a dumb decision on my part. So stupid. It was just like probably the worst decision I ever made, and it's so crazy what I was going through at the time, because if you would have asked anybody, if you would have told anybody 2 years prior, even a year prior, that I was going to do that, they would have said, "You're fucking crazy. He's the model employee." I don't know. My mind was in a different place, man.
Totally.
And that was the dumbest fucking thing I ever did. I regret it to this day. So fucking stupid.
I mean, did you talk to Vince about it initially? Like, you wanted to?
Yeah, I don't want to get into everything. It was just a mistake, man.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
It was a big fucking mistake. And I knew it the second I came back. I don't know. It was a mistake. I went out there. I did what I thought was, I don't know. I looked in the crowd and people were not reacting how they were how I wanted them to, and I just did what I thought was right, and it was a very stupid decision. Very fucking stupid. I shouldn't have done it.
Was there anger backstage when you went backstage too?
Of course, man.
Yeah.
It was. That was a bad night, man. I shouldn't have done that. I took a chance, a stupid chance, really dumb chance, and just didn't didn't work.
Yeah, I can see it. And also in the mindset you were in at the time, I mean, obviously from everything we're talking about here, you know, you weren't in the best mindset at the time.
No.
So, I
think I'd lost my mind weeks prior to that. Lost it.
Do you think this was the real beginning of the end of your time in WWE?
No, I think I was going to self-destruct at a certain point, no matter what. It doesn't matter what situation you put me in, something bad, like I was going to do something stupid. I was very self-destructive at that point in time. Very. It doesn't matter. Something was going to happen. Yeah.
Do you think that's what led to kind of like some of the issues on that same European tour that came afterwards as well, where it was like, because I remember Sports Illustrated at the time, they reported on the drinking side of things. And
there were so many things reported that were bullshit. There were some that were true. Like, when you get fired and I'm sitting there and people are telling me what's being said about me, all I give a fuck about is having that next beer. I was fucking so depressed. I was out of it. Like, I just didn't give a fuck. I didn't care what was being said about me. But yeah, I just had lost my mind. And again, like, it was so out of character for William Morrissey. Like, I'm sure people looking back on that were now, or even in the moment, were like, that just doesn't sound like him. That's not the guy I've known for 5 years. It's not the guy I've known for 4 years. So something's not right with this guy. Something's wrong.
It was confusing at the time. I
Yes.
definitely, I mean, I reported on one of them, I reported on the little person thing at the time. And I remember, like, it was very much, people were like, man, it's just, I don't know what's happening. It was
so out of character.
It was
for
very
me.
out of character, I remember hearing at the time.
I'd lost my mind already. It was gone. So I was making mistakes that I would have never made in a million years, but something just, like I talk about that chemical imbalance, something just wasn't right, man. And yeah, it's just, it's unfortunate because like I said, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I made those fucking mistakes. I'm going to learn from those mistakes. All I can do is move forward, man. So looking back, just learn from those mistakes.
Well,
Because
like
they're
you-
done. They happened.
Well, like you said, before we started recording, I was asking how old you were, and you said you're 31. And it's like, I mean, you were growing up on a huge international platform in front of millions of people, hiding this secret in your head that was fucking you up. I mean, like, that's not an easy thing for anyone to go through. I mean, like, I understand that people deal with different things, and like you said, people grow. I mean, the fact that you're able to be sitting here talking about it for other people to learn from and hopefully get help before a self-destruction moment happens. I mean, that was
I had to go get help.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And no matter how weak you may feel or how weak some other people may feel, especially in, an industry like that or sports, or people may think that you're a weak person. Fuck them. You need to do what's right for you.
Yep.
You need to get yourself right
Yep.
because you need to live.
Yeah.
Because I could have died.
Yes.
So I need to fucking do what I need to do.
Yep.
And it just took all those mistakes and then, all those months of self-destruction and then finally, bang, seizure. So it was like, that was the wake-up moment.
Where were you when you got the call from WWE that you got released? Do you remember?
No, I was done. Vince called me in.
Vince called you in, so you were
face to face.
face.
We had a long talk. It was a great talk. Yeah, we had a very, very good conversation, and we left very amicably. And I have no bad things to say about that company. Like they treated me well. They fucking put me in great spots. They did everything for me, and I kind of just fucked them over. And I feel bad about that. And I'm disappointed in myself that I let a lot of people down because they put a lot of fucking faith in me, and that company treated me very, very well. And just like I said, there were forces at play that just couldn't be stopped. And like I said, everybody deserves a second chance. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was done face to face. Very great conversation. It had to have lasted maybe an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very good.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, that's the fact that it wasn't just a call from Carano, that you got a full thing like that says a lot, I think, about what you did before. I think that it says a lot about, the character you were as well. I think that, you're a little hard on yourself, obviously, because of how things played out. But the fact that Vince doesn't do that for everybody, like sit there and have an hour-long conversation with them and talk to them about it. Do you feel like obviously you feel like you have unfinished business there.
Yep.
Is that something that you feel, because it was such an amicable exit at the time and explained to you, do you think that's something where the door is still open if you get your shit, since you've gotten your shit together?
I do think the door's open. It's just a matter of what I want to do.
Is that something that you'd want to do, or is it tough because of all the memories it brings back? And
it's just tough to say right now. It's a tough life, man. People don't realize how tough that lifestyle is. Mentally right now, I feel like I'm in a good place. I feel like I'm in a very good place to handle that schedule and to handle that life. That's where I feel like I'm at right now, but I don't know what I want to do, man. I'm kind of living life right now, keeping my options open. You know, there's plenty of wrestling to be had out there in the world. There's plenty of other options in entertainment out there to be had in the world. So,
are there other things in entertainment that interest you? Like acting, is that one of them?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you started kind of like working into that at all?
You know, not. I don't want to get into too many details,
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, definitely things.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This people who bought my site, Collider, the office here, they're a movie news website.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm a big movie news guy. My second love is like movies and acting and that kind of thing. I grew up wanting to act, so I love it.
I haven't fucking done anything, but I'm definitely taking steps in the right direction.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's rad. Yeah, and I think that you're right. I mean, the landscape in wrestling is wild right now. You know, there's just so much shit going on. There's just everything is happening, and I think that you know, obviously with AEW being around, thinking, my opinion, they need a big guy. They need some more big guys in AEW. So and like you said, the being in the hotel alone 360 days a year like isn't easy. I would think that a lighter schedule like that would be a little more pleasing.
But like I said, I think after seeking help, like I feel like I'm in the right place now.
Yeah.
I feel like that it would be not a breeze. Obviously, it's a fucking tough life.
But
compared to what I was going through at a year ago, 2 years ago, like it would be a breeze now.
What are some of the things that you did do to kind of get things going in the right direction after getting sober? What are some of the changes that you did have to make?
See a psychiatrist. I was living with Doug also. Doug took care of me, fucking kept an eye over me, and then you kind of built up trust with him. Like he would be watching over me a lot, and then finally like comes to a point where he's like, all right, I don't need to watch him as much, and then finally it's like, all right, I trust him. He's not gonna fucking do anything.
Yeah.
I'll let him go fucking to the grocery store and fucking tanning. I know he's not gonna go to the bar and fucking drink.
Yep.
So I just built up that trust, and like it's set to build it up with yourself, man.
Yeah.
Just because there's alcohol. It's the most accessible drug on the planet. I'm in a hotel right now that has a mini bar.
Yep.
I could have told him to remove it, to get rid of everything. I'm not going to do that because I have the willpower. I'm not going to fucking touch it. I have no interest in it. Zero. I know what it did to my life. I know how badly it destroyed it.
Yeah.
Not going to fucking go back to that. You know? So no matter how much alcohol I'm around, if I'm in a social situation, how much alcohol is in my fucking hotel room, I ain't going to fucking drink it.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you think this getting sober and getting help led to you and Enzo kind of reconciling your relationship too?
We reconciled after the seizure. Yeah. Well, before the seizure, I gave him a call. It was at the point in time where I was like making amends with people just because at that point in time, man, like I was so unhealthy. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. So I called him and we made amends. And then after the seizure, we really fucking talked. And, yeah, he was actually very fucking helpful in helping me take the right steps in the right direction. Yeah, he's been great for me, man.
That's good.
Yeah, fucking excellent.
Yeah.
Step the fuck up, man. Like, I don't know what people think about him, but as a human being, man, he's a good, fucking great guy. Fucking helped me out huge.
He seems like he's there for his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loyalty is his number one quality.
Yeah.
He is fucking loyal.
Do you think that some of the issues that you were dealing with prior to that are what led to your guys falling out? Or was it just
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it was just, like I said, even before the ACL injury, I was starting to turn into a different person.
Yeah.
People could see it. People could tell. Something like I was just moving in the wrong direction. So yeah, that definitely had something to do with it because I changed as a human, not as a performer, as a fucking human being. I changed. And I even look back at that time. I was so out of shape. I look at some of those segments from before I got injured. I was fat. I would have never in a million years let myself get like that. I don't know what was going on in my head.
How big did you get?
I don't remember weight, but I look back at some of those segments and I look like shit.
Frustrated at yourself.
Yeah, I look like I'm very critical of my body. Like right now, I'm very critical. Like I got myself to 308 pounds, and then I did a show for Southern Honor 2 weeks ago, and it was on the internet, and like I got pictures. I was like, man, your abs aren't coming out enough. So then I fucking leaned out, started dieting. Now I look in the mirror in my hotel room, and now I'm too lean. I'm like, my arms are flat. So like I'm always constantly changing.
That's tough. I could not imagine being on TV with my shirt off every week.
But I love it because it gives me goals. Something with depression that you need to do is set goals. So constantly resetting goals. Okay, get bigger. These are things now I focus on. And the gym is fucking part of my medication, man. For some people, it may not be. I don't know, what people do. They meditate. Whatever steps they take to alleviate what's going on in their head. Mm-hmm. The gym for me, huge. If I don't get into the gym, I feel awful. So constantly in the gym, that helps me here.
How often do you work out?
5 times a week. There's some days if I take a day off and I start like freaking out. I'm like, fuck, I need to get in the gym. I'll just start doing push-ups.
Just at your place?
Yes.
Yeah, I do Ryback's podcast every weekend, and he told me that he's been working out for like 2 to 4 hours every day since he was 13 years old, and I was like, oh man, I'm fucking up. I gotta get in shape.
Well, fucking look at the guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we were talking about it, because he was mad about when people think that he takes steroids, and he was like, and he just saying like it frustrates him personally. He's like, I've been working out for fucking 2 to 4 hours a day since I was a child.
People just say anything, man.
They really do.
I bet you if I got to 325 pounds, I don't think I could ever do it. But they'd say he's on steroids. He's definitely on steroids.
100%.
There's no other reason he looks like that.
100%.
That's just what people do.
It's just
they're jealous because they don't fucking have the work ethic to actually put in the work, to get in the gym, to eat correctly, and they're insecure about themselves and their body. So when they see someone look that good, that's steroids.
Yeah.
Cheating.
Totally.
Because they're insecure because they can't fucking do it. Because they could do it, they just don't have the fucking mindset to do it.
It's similar to like when I saw people talking shit on Renee Young this weekend in her commentary on Raw, and then she was kind of saying like, well, I know I'm not the best, but I'm working on it type of thing, and it was like, no, don't. You're great at what you do. Like, it's just some guy in the middle of nowhere who would never have the guts to go try and do it himself, and so he's just hating on someone
I'm not
else.
familiar with the products. I don't know. But Renee's fucking talented as shit, so that guy's probably an idiot.
Totally.
To be honest with you.
Totally.
She's talented as fuck.
Can I ask you a little bit? There's one thing that happened recently that I'm so interested in. If you can't talk about it, I understand.
Is it the Madison Square
Yeah,
Garden?
can you not talk about it at all? Are you not allowed to?
I mean, you could shoot a quiet.
Well, I was more toward like, what happened? Because I was there. I was at the show, and it seemed like you guys were part of the show. Is that safe to say? You guys were booked to be there, right?
Were we booked to be there? I wouldn't exactly say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But, I mean, I noticed security didn't stop you guys from
Look,
doing it.
I'll say this.
Okay.
So no matter what has been put out there in the world or who's trying to cover up what,
yeah,
or who's trying to say what, watch that footage back and tell me if that's a shoot or if that's a fucking work. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So I read some shit afterwards and people trying to cover up and whatever they're trying to say to make themselves look better and to make their brand look better. But watch that back and you tell me what the fuck happened. Was that a shoot or was that a fucking work?
I mean, I was there, so I didn't have to watch the video. I was watching the whole thing. To me, that was a work.
You thought it was a work?
I thought it was a work. I assumed it was because I would think if it wasn't, security would have like jumped in and pushed you guys away and not the wrestlers, but they might have also been thinking that it was part of the show and it wasn't.
Exactly.
Fair enough. So with the landscape being the way it is, do you think that the indies is something that you want to keep doing? Would you prefer to have a full-time deal with a major company like a Ring of Honor, an Impact, whoever?
It depends right
AEW.
now. Like, I like what I'm doing right now, man. Making good money, fucking living life, being able to do my own schedule, come out here to LA for a few days. If I was under full-time deal, I wouldn't have been in it. I would have done that signing Saturday, and I wouldn't have been here today.
True.
I could do whatever the fuck I want.
Yep.
I could stay in LA for a few days and take meetings and then do this interview and do whatever I want.
Yep.
So it's a really nice life to live. Depends on what gets put in front of me, man. I'm not dead set on anything.
Totally.
I could go anywhere.
Yep.
Depends on what offers put in front of me. And at this point in time, I'm looking at myself like a commodity. I don't need to be anywhere. I'm happy the way I am. I saved my fucking money. And believe me, I made a fuck ton.
I can believe that for sure.
We sold a lot of fucking merch, man.
Oh, I can believe that.
If anybody, I can make a fucking nickel squeal. So I've saved my money. I don't need money. It depends on what in my life or what works out, what is put in front of me, man.
I also feel like, I know like things are great right now in wrestling or whatever. They're doing good right now in wrestling, but I also feel like in 6 months from now, it's going to be even crazier. Like it's
going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I as a fan, not as a performer, I'm looking forward to this because shit's going to get real.
Oh, yeah.
October 29?
No, sooner than October. I think the first one's October 2nd is the first AEW show on TNT.
Oh, I thought, because Jericho put something out there about the
tickets go on sale.
The anniversary of his first match it's going to be in DC. I thought it might have been the first taping.
I think,
or the first live.
The first. I'm not sure. I remember them saying that. I forget the exact date.
He tweeted something.
He tweeted something along those lines. Yes, but I know that October 2nd is a live show from DC. That's the first AEW show.
Oh, that's the one. That's what Jericho was tweeting.
Yes,
about.
And then October 4th is Fox's first WWE SmackDown.
Shit's gonna get real, man. It's gonna be, as a fan, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So you were a fan your whole life of wrestling, so you watched the Monday Night Wars and all that kind of stuff.
I started going to shows at the Garden. I remember my first show was a show at the Garden. They had a battle royal, and my memory is a little foggy because I was really young. It was in '92. It was a Superstars taping in February.
Not that foggy, if you remember that.
Yeah, and I just remember there was a fuck finish on Hogan with Sid going into WrestleMania 8. I think, going into WrestleMania 8, there was a battle royal. It was in the Garden, and like there was some sort of like fuck finish where Hogan got screwed by Sid. I remember that specifically.
That's awesome.
That's all I remember from that show.
It's crazy how you remember like the things you remember from your first wrestling show. Like I remember my first wrestling show too, and it was weird because my dad works in TV, so I got to be backstage for my first WWE show, but I was like a little kid, so like I think that's probably why I ended up getting in working in wrestling news, because I was like behind the scenes when I wasn't a wrestler at day one. I was like, this is a crazy world. And I just remember looking around and thinking like, this is awesome. Like, this is cool. This is like a TV show, but it's like real. You know? Yeah. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as a fan of professional wrestling, it is exciting right now.
It's going to be awesome, man.
I feel like I think I'm most excited for the people who didn't get to experience two actual major companies going head to head. I'm more excited for them to get to experience what we experienced as kids, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting world, and I feel like what do you think about AEW's approach to kind of like the more sports oriented vibe?
I love it. I've watched everything that they've done. Yeah, I love it. I'm really interested to see, how things go when TV starts. They're fucking crushing it, man. I watched all their pay-per-views. I watched, I don't know, so like All in Double or Nothing were like the pay-per-views. Like I don't know what they considered like Fight for the Fallen and Fight or Fight. Those are semi-pay-per-views.
To me, it felt like dry run for like TV almost.
Maybe, but I watched them all, and I fucking really enjoyed everything. So,
what was your favorite part about it?
Dude, the Cody fucking Dustin match at Double or Nothing, man, was
so good.
And then not only that, then the promo afterwards, the emotion that went into it. When he said, "I don't need a partner, I need my brother."
Yeah.
And they both like started crying. Dude, it was fucking amazing. That's Hollywood shit, dude.
100%.
It was fantastic.
I was there, and it was like, oh, that's good, you know. And I know that it was a callback to whatever for Dusty and Dustin or whatever, but like still, you just go like you said, that's like movie shit right there. You're
it was, man.
That's good. Like that's.
It was real emotion.
Totally, and you can relate to it. You know, if anyone can relate to like a relationship like that. You can go like, oh, I get that.
That's the best thing I've seen so far.
Yeah,
like that entire segment was fantastic.
I love the fact that Cody is bringing kind of that old school vibe to AEW. You know, I think that and the NWA title match that was at whatever way back in the day, the first one, All In or whatever.
All In.
Against Magnus.
Magnus.
Yeah. Like even that one, same thing. It was my favorite match on the card because it was just like this old school vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how they're able to kind of like bring that in 2019. You know,
I think Moxley brings that too.
Moxley, I love that. Just like his promos are so good. Like you go like, why? You'd watch him and you'd go like, I know that guy does dope promos when he was in WWE.
Yeah.
You'd be like, why are they making him so goofy all the time? And it's crazy to see just like in the short amount, the short few things they've let him do, how great they are.
Yeah, it's fucking. And his stuff in New Japan too.
He's killing it,
dude. Him and Juice, we used to ride up and down the roads in FCW together, and watching them, wrestle in New Japan was fantastic. It was fucking awesome.
Is that something that interests you?
What?
New Japan?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The G1 status? Looks intense.
Depends. Yeah. Yeah, dude. depends on timing and what's in front of me and what else I'm doing with my life, man. Yeah, I'd love to go to New Japan. That'd be, sick.
Yeah, totally. And it's I think that Juice and Moxley have both done a good job of like showing kind of their full capabilities there.
Yep.
It would be cool to see you kind of getting that same opportunity to kind of like show your full capabilities, because I don't think people realize how, I don't want to say handcuffed, but like there are so many limitations placed on you guys in the ring. I don't think people understand the real.
Yeah, it's just I'll say this, I like being on the independents.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
But then again, we're not working fucking television where we have to hit break spots and advertisers have to come in at certain points. So it's just a whole different ball game.
It's got to be really hard to build a match knowing all of that and having the referee yelling stuff while it's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very stressful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of fun. You enjoy the challenge. Like a lot of people, in terms of performance-wise, not backstage-wise, but in terms of performance-wise, I always liked TVs better than house shows. Everybody loved house shows.
That's the opposite.
People thought I was crazy.
Yeah, that's you always hear the opposite.
I was like, I love the challenge of like, we got to hit this spot by the time we get to here so they can go to break before the fucking, this, we do this. I always thought that was a fun challenge.
You see, I think that's probably why you want to get into acting probably afterwards. Because, I mean, that is kind of like similarly to acting. Like, you have to hit certain things. Like, you have to make this work, and it's not easy to do that.
People thought I was nuts. I was always like, I love TVs way better. And they were like, house shows are so much more laid back. And I was like, yeah, I don't like that. Like backstage and everything else, I love laid back.
Yeah.
But when I go through the curtain, I want high pressure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, high pressure for some people does bring out the best in them, obviously. Yeah. I mean, but God, that's got to be even worse for you, though, since you like the high-pressure situations, but then you're dealing with anxiety.
Only performance-wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything that I suffer with, the second I walk through the curtain's gone.
Yeah.
Complete, like, it's crazy. Like, I would sit behind the curtain at TVs, and I'd be like, all right, when you're music, you're still going to have it. Without fail, every time I walk through the curtain, gone. Everything. It's like medicine.
Yep.
Everything was gone. Mm-hmm. And then, like, when you come back through the curtain, you're riding a little bit of an adrenaline high and all that. And then when you finally get to the locker room or when you're walking down the hallway of the locker room, that's when
it all starts sinking back in.
Again, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you taking, like, medication and stuff, too, to help with it?
Yes.
Does that help a lot?
100%.
Yeah. I can imagine
I'm a huge advocate for it. Some people don't think it's the right approach. That's fine. But as long as you're taking an approach and you're getting better, that's all that matters. So whether it's medication or talk therapy or whatever it is that you want to do, that's fine. Yep. Just do whatever you need to do. Seek help, talk to somebody, and get the job done. Because you need to get better.
Yes.
So whatever it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that, I suffered from AD, and it was like, had to try so many different medications and plans to figure out like what helps you get through it, and it's obviously not the same thing as depression or whatever, but like it's a thing that fucks with your brain, and so I commend you very much for being able to do that. I think that, do you think that you'll maybe, because this is something that's so important to you, do you think that you'll be kind of like working with any of the community at all to kind of like help keep spreading this message and stuff?
I have some things worked out with some NFL teams that I'm going to be doing soon.
Good.
Doug Lawson, he's kind of set up some things for me to maybe talk to some NFL teams.
Good.
Which may fall through because it's a pretty big deal.
But NFL, I mean, the NFL has it just as bad as wrestlers in terms of like that kind of thing.
But as of now, it's on schedule.
Good.
So, yeah. So starting with that, and I would love to spread the word on mental health, man. I just think it's something that's not talked about enough. I feel like it's something that is looked down upon, and I feel like the stigma needs to change because it's really affecting people's lives. I mean, people are out there, offing themselves, committing suicide every day, man. These are things that shouldn't happen.
No.
And I think that a lot of it could be, I think a lot of it, those numbers can go down and way down if more people talk about it and the word is spread more, especially by people that are in some sort of spotlight like I am. I mean, I'm by no means in like a crazy amount of spotlight. I'm no Kim Kardashian, But you got a pretty big spotlight. Yeah. So like I'm in a pretty big spotlight. So I just wanted to help people out there suffering. And I'll tell you this, man, like I was nervous about talking about it. I was nervous about putting it out there because then people are like, well, you know, the same bullshit that's going to happen. He's weak and all that. But then the Instagram direct messages started flooding in. Like every day still, I get hundreds of messages on Instagram. People telling me how I've inspired them, how they're going to get help. Once that started happening, I said, that was the right fucking decision, man, by a mile. Like this many people have been affected by my video. I'm just a pro wrestler, man. I'm not a drop in the bucket, man. I'm a pro wrestler, but for my story to help them that much, especially like you said, being as big as I am, and you know, the big tough guy, you know, fucking pro wrestler. Yeah. For me to open up about it helped a lot of people open up about it and talk to me. And for some of these people, before they see a psychiatrist, I'm the only person they're talking to right now. Totally. And I'm responding as much as possible to everybody, but the messages are coming in so many every day, like it's hard to respond. But like, there was one person that messaged me, man, and it was so sad. And she messaged me and said how her husband had passed away from a seizure at the grocery store the morning that his favorite baseball team was going to finally win the World Series. I think it might have been. She didn't get into details. I assume it was the Cubs, probably in 2016. And she said the seizure was from alcohol withdrawal. And she said, we just all thought he was a fucking booze hound, alcoholic, useless. Not useless, but you know, he was just an alcoholic, can't be saved. And then she said, I never realized until watching your video what the real issue was. It was depression, and we should have been getting him help for that. So a lot of people focus on, oh, this person needs help for alcohol or pills or whatever their fucking outlet is. That person needs help for that. I'm a firm believer in you need to address the real situation that's causing that first, which is probably their mental health. Yep. That needs to be addressed first. Absolutely. So when she messaged me that, like, that really, I was brought to tears, man. I felt horrible. But at the same time, I felt like, I mean, I'm helping people, but I wish I would have put the video out before that happened.
Well, I mean, you couldn't have, you know, I mean, you didn't know yourself, you know, and you couldn't have. I mean, the fact that you're doing it now is helpful. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that a lot of addiction stems from mental health issues.
100%. And people just they write people off that are addicted to drugs or alcohol and say they're just addicted to drugs or alcohol. You know, they're just, they're an alcoholic, or they're a booze hound, or I don't even know what the word for a drug addict is, a negative connotation. I don't know. They're junkie. Druggie. Yeah, junkie. This guy's a junkie. Yeah. Okay, we need to get him help for that. Oh, he went to rehab and he's back on the bottle. Well, maybe you need to think differently. This is the problem over here. Yep. This is what needs to happen first, because that's what's causing everything. And that's what it was for me. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'd have a glass of wine, you know, here and there, or maybe 2 glasses of wine here and there. And like, you know, in college, obviously I was a big drinker. But when depression and anxiety started setting in, that's when I started really fucking drinking. Yeah. So that was the problem all along. That needs to be addressed before anything else can be addressed. Totally. That's just my opinion.
No, I think and my opinion is that you're...
And I'm no fucking professional. No. I'm no MD. I'm no psychiatrist. That's just from my experience and from what I've read and from people I talk to and people that, you know, message me on Instagram and conversations I'm having. That is my conclusion.
No, that's... I mean, I'm not going to say medically I know for sure, but that's what from the time that I spent in rehab, not me there, but being there, visiting people, that's 100%. The vibe I got as well. You know, I know that someone I knew who was very close to me, that they told me, you know, they started using because they thought nobody cared about them. They thought that there was nobody. And I was like, we talk every day, you know, and it's like, I'm always there for you, you know? Yeah. And so it's crazy how the mind can convince you of those kinds of things too.
And the crazy thing about the mind is, you know, I've heard one of my biggest inspirations, Tyson Fury. Fucking, I'll tell you this, if it wasn't for that guy, I'd probably be dead. And I'm just saying, I'm being honest, if it wasn't for that guy's story, I'd probably be dead. He said what's special about the mind is, like, if you were disabled or handicapped, or if you had some sort of physical ailment, I could see it. But like, you can't see inside someone's mind. So I could be talking to you right now. Right now, I could be talking to you. We're having a great conversation. You seem like a happy person. You could go home later and just start taking drugs because you're depressed. I don't fucking know.
Totally.
That's like what is very weird. So unless you tell somebody, they're not going to know.
Nope.
Because you look pretty happy to me.
Yeah.
Or that person over there or that person looks very happy to me.
Yep.
You can't see inside their mind.
Nope.
What they need to do is let people know. You have to let somebody know and let them fucking either get you help or point you in the right direction.
I actually wish that mental health was something that was taught more in school too. Like from a young age of some sort. Like, you know, we have like sex ed and drug education. Like
Yep.
it would be beneficial for that kind of thing, because I mean, kids are just like, that's when it starts usually is at a young age of like being bullied or certain things that just mess with your head, and then
Yep.
it starts leading you down a different road of anxiety, or chemical imbalance can also mess it up. But like a lot of those things can really mess with your head. It's so that's why I was so happy when you wanted to come over here, because I spreading the message of mental health is so important. I mean,
Yes.
everyone, you know, the people I know that fall down those traps, this is 100% what it is. You know, I mean, even when you see homeless people on the street, a lot of the time, like that's what led them to that road, was just because there was no one there to help them when they were dealing with mental issues.
I agree.
Yeah. So I do want to thank you for coming in here, though. I think that it's like I said, it's invaluable for certain people to see someone on your platform. I know you said you don't feel like you're a Kim Kardashian or whatever, but like, you are fucking really famous. Like, you were on TV for a long time, well, a good amount of time, and resonated with a lot of people. I mean, there's a reason you guys were as popular as you were, and it's because your characters resonated with people. You seemed real.
Yeah.
And for the same reason that you guys got over on TV, it's why people feel like they can talk to you after when you came out with it.
Because we're real.
You are real people.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Where can people find everything that you're doing here, Kaz?
Thank you.
Yeah. Where can people find you on social media and stuff?
Okay, so
if you're using it, I don't know.
on Twitter, at the CaZXL, TheCazXL, and on Instagram, I am still, unfortunately, I can't change my handle for some reason. Big Cass, WWE, BIGCASSWB. And if you're having any issues with mental health and you need somebody to talk to, and you think I might be your guy, please send me a direct message on Instagram, because I may not have posted in over 14 fucking months, but I tell you this, I check my messages every day. So get in contact with me, and I'll try my best to point you in the right direction.
Thanks again for doing this. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
ProWrestlingSheet.com